Horizon 3 has just been announced. Sony promises the God of War TV show won't suck, and massive changes are coming to Metacritic that are gonna shake up you Xbox and Sony ponies out there.
But first, the Xbox Activision deal is in shambles. We'll break down what that means and more right now on Gamers Lounge. I'm sure you've heard that the UK has completely ruined Xbox's chances of this deal closing, right?
Dude, this was the biggest news of the week.
Yeah, reports leading up to this almost guaranteed that the CMA was going to approve it. But what happened? According to the CMA, they believe that it would create an unfair advantage, not because of PlayStation or Nintendo, but in the world of cloud gaming. And the reasoning goes even further by saying because Google Stadia failed, they're already stronger than they were before with xCloud.
Yeah, this just kind of seems like bullshit, to be honest with you. As you said, reports leading up to this thing was going to get passed. Even Wall Street thought it was going to be passed, right? And Wall Street has their own set of sources and leakers and all that kind of stuff. They usually know a lot of things before the general public even does. So for them to even get stunned by this means that something else was going on behind the scenes. Something happened that changed the CMA's mind overnight.
Absolutely. I mean, cloud gaming really isn't that big, and we're so far off. Plus, Xbox kind of covered their trails by signing deals with smaller cloud gaming services, plus NVIDIA GeForce Now. So what's the issue here?
The one thing that was a little true from this report, though, I don't know if you caught this, was the fact that they were like, there's no way you could run Call of Duty on Switch.
Oh, 100%. And it's true. You would have to run that through cloud gaming, but I think we all kind of knew that.
My ongoing theory was that this was PlayStation paying off the CMA, swaying their decision. But then a report came out last night that the CMA met with the FTC a week and a half ago. And as we know, the FTC has been trying to block this thing full stop for months now.
So are you saying that it was the FTC that stopped this deal, or that it was PlayStation behind the scenes?
I say it's one or the other, or even both. FTC has clearly sided with PlayStation throughout this entire ordeal. I don't know if money's involved. I'm not gonna put the tinfoil hat on just yet, but somebody changed the CMA's mind.
The reasoning of cloud gaming seems super odd, but there's still a chance that this deal goes through.
I honestly am gonna disagree with you there. I don't think this deal goes through now. Before I would have said 80 to 90%. This thing is going to get passed. I'm below 50 right now, dude. With the CMA blocking this, we know the FTC is not on board. That leaves who? The EU?
Okay, we don't have a guaranteed confirmation that the FTC isn't on board. Xbox has made a lot of strides to get this deal to go through. I think the EU approves it, and I think that there's still a chance that the FTC approves it, which would mean with Microsoft's rebuttal that there's a chance that the UK changes their mind. In my opinion, it's a lot easier for the UK to say, we're gonna block this and change our mind later than approve this and try to block it later. Does that make sense?
For sure. To be fair, Microsoft is gonna appeal this, but there's one problem. Whenever people have tried appeals for something like this in the past, they've always failed. The CMA has never approved a single appeal. They can rework this deal in a way that satisfies the cloud gaming piece of it. So they can make some changes and some pivots to really get, the CMA to side with it.
I believe that there is a chance that Microsoft can go back and rebuttal and say, these are the strides we're gonna make to be able to make sure that this deal goes through. You tell us your concerns and we'll make sure that they're addressed. I just don't think that their concerns were actually voiced until this very last second. I mean, we would have been talking about it, I will say though, although that the CMA hasn't approved a rebuttal ever, each case is different. I don't think we've seen something to this magnitude. This is the largest acquisition in gaming history. More so, this is gonna take a couple of years to actually figure out. I don't think that we get this closed this year now. If the UK came out and said, this is approved, the EU said this was approved, and the FTC was still kind of hesitant on it, it may close by the end of the year. But now there's no chance it closes this year, and it may get even pushed into 2025.
Yeah, this is gonna take a while to get resolved. But fun fact, I don't know if you saw this, if the deal doesn't go through, did you know that Activision will walk away with $3 billion?
Jesus Christ. At that point, you could have bought a whole nother developer without having to go through this problem.
Moving on to the next story. Did you hear that Horizon 3 was announced?
No.
So this actually wasn't a leak or rumor or anything like that. It was actually kind of announced by Guerrilla Games themselves. They announced a whole bunch of sweeping changes in the studio, a bunch of promotions, good changes. Nobody got laid off, anything bad like that. And in that announcement, they not only revealed that they're working on the next entry in the Horizon series, they also semi-confirmed the multiplayer game that leaked out a while ago. On top of that, we know that Horizon is also getting a TV show.
I mean, the multiplayer game already excites me because I'm not a big single player gamer, but I'm intrigued by what they could have to offer for the multiplayer gamer.
Yeah, this is like one of 3 confirmed multiplayer games that we know of. We got The Last of Us Factions, which is probably releasing this year. We got Twisted Metal, which is probably releasing next year. And now we know down the line, we're gonna have this Horizon multiplayer game. And as we know, Sony has 12 projects in the works that are all going to be multiplayer titles. A couple of them off of some new studios that were recently acquired. It's kind of cool to see Sony get into this whole live service and multiplayer space and see what they can do there to kind of evolve it, you know, because they've already done that with single player games. What can they bring to the table on multiplayer? Something that's been around for decades now. But the biggest question I have for Horizon, and specifically Horizon 3, is are they going to release it properly this time? And what I mean by that is, if you remember, Horizon 1 released probably a week before Breath of the Wild, got completely drowned out and overshadowed. They repeated history with Horizon 2, releasing a week or two before that, and again overshadowed by another gigantic blockbuster game. Are they going to do the same with Horizon 3 and release that next to Elden Ring 2 or whatever the next Zelda game is? That's the biggest problem here. And honestly, I'm surprised they made it out alive with the other two games. You can't release that close to these juggernauts. It's kind of the same mistake that the original Titanfall games made. If you remember, Titanfall 1 and 2 were sandwiched in between Battlefields and Call of Duties and basically sent out to die.
Yes, their release planning is not good, but the game was still great. It was nominated for some of the most awards at the Game Awards, and it was nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah, for sure. And the last bit I'll touch on here is the TV show, because this goes with the other story that Sony's kind of just promising these new PlayStation shows are not going to suck, specifically with Horizon and the God of War TV show. That seemed to be a concern, especially because, at least for me, I'm worried about these shows being separated on so many different platforms. I think God of War is Amazon Prime. I don't even know what Horizon's on. And then Last of Us was on HBO. I kind of wish everything was just on HBO, because that seems to be like the golden standard platform. But at least we know that they want to put the same care into these TV shows as they did with The Last of Us, and we all know how great Last of Us was.
It sounds like Sony's being careful with their IP, as they always are. As long as Sony has a hand in the pot with whoever's developing it, I think it'll be a good TV show. Before we move on, don't forget to smack that subscribe button with your middle toe. Moving on to the last story, did you hear about the crazy changes that were sparked by rabid fanboys on Metacritic?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it, but I didn't hear all the details, so I definitely want to learn more about this.
Horizon's DLC released, and it's got a lot of people talking because Aloy is in a relationship with another woman, which has these crazy homophobic fanboys going to write negative reviews. And it also has to do with Hogwarts Legacy getting absolutely review bombed. Essentially, Metacritic is tired of it. Anything that's homophobic, racist, or offends others pretty much will be removed from the site. They're also banning people for excessively negative comments.
Yeah, this is a long time coming, but I don't know if this is going to be the solution that we need that's going to stop review bombing. I've always been in favor of them having some kind of system where the person reviewing has to verify somehow how many hours they've actually put into a game before dropping a review. The problem right now is that there's no system like that. So you could go in, claim you beat the game, claim the game's a piece of shit, and that's a massive problem. There needs to be some kind of verification system there.
I mean, Steam has it to where you have to own the game to be able to rate it, which at least is a slight plus. But overall, Metacritic is at least taking a half step forward by deleting negative, homophobic, racist, or hurtful comments. And taking those reviewers off the platform.
That's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys want to see even more gaming news, be sure to click this video right here. But if you want to see some challenges where we go head to head, click right over here.